You have these flashes and images of incidences, violent incidences, happy incidences, just situations that you see as a child that you obviously can't control, but at the end of the day, you can't forget them. Being at the stairs in the basement, and my mom and dad get into an argument, and she puts a knife to his throat. God knows for what. He obviously was scared, crapless, for lack of a better word. So that was the behavior, and after a while, it just got worse. If you've been through divorce, know anyone that's been through divorce, but looking at it now and seeing other kids, families go through divorce, it's not, it doesn't affect me as much. I think because I was so young, it didn't dawn on me. But losing that dual income, losing that stability, and losing the structure that I could have had to thrive in, changed my life completely. And that led to the reason why I'm here now. I like to attribute, now that I'm older, I'm writing the book, I'd like to say that, and it sounds very cliche, but my mom suffered from a broken heart. And, I don't know if any of you have been there or done that, but I can guarantee you that there has been or there will be a time in your life where you're going to get your heart broken. You're going to be in a relationship that you thought was solid, and then as time goes on, she leaves you, he leaves you, he cheats on you, whatever the case may be. And that's when you suffer your real true heartbreak. For the first time, it's as painful as it ever is going to be. You're probably not going to feel a pain like that ever again. Subsequent to that, you'll probably have the pain, but the first initial time will cause you to build up a defense, probably potential, preservation mechanisms to make sure that you read signs in advance so you don't get as hurt as the first time. My mom was very abusive growing up. She wasn't taught how to be a parent. Back in Puerto Rico, it was just rough. You got beat just to get you straightened out. And that's how she raised me. Smacks and basically verbal abuse as well. There was no encouragement. Only thing that she found to be proud of or talk about was my looks or how cute I was or how I was looking or dressing and so on and so forth. There really wasn't much of educational encouragement. I played saxophone, I did chorus, I did things like that, but she never allowed me to follow through on anything. It was a few months here, quit, a few months there, quit, a year or two, quit, and that was it. So, needless to say, she raised me to be angry. About that year or so, I smoked weed at 11 years old for the first time. I smoked in my garage at my house back in Connecticut. A kid was riding his bike. I was trying to be cool, trying to get with this girl who was older than me, and he showed up with this little nickel bag, which was $5 at the time, and he's like, "Hey, you want some?" And I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "Weed." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." He's like, "Oh, stop being a little girl, like a better word," and I bought it. A buddy of mine a few days later had some, he's like, "Hey, this is what I got, do you want it?" And he's like, "Hey, what's," he rolled it up and I smoked. I had no idea my mom knew what the heck weed smelled like. So I smoked in the garage, she drives into the house, I'm taking a shower. I was high, didn't even know it, acting like I was trying to clean myself and brush my teeth. And she came and gave me the whooping of my life. I put the responsibility of my younger sister on me. And as a 13-year-old kid wanting to do things and having to take care of a child that's not yours, and knowing that your mom is out clubbing, drinking, and doing things and leaving you with that burden, messes you up psychologically. You hear of kids, I know you guys know about the kids in Milwaukee, the Slender Man thing, stabbed God knows what girl, how many times. You hear of, kids doing these atrocities or doing these acts, and you're like, these kids, how could they do that? Even though you can't express it as a child of what you're going through, the trauma that you're seeing, it comes to a point where you become desensitized to a lot of things. And when you get angry, when you react, you don't really care what the consequence is. You just do it because that's what that rage, that psychological anger and depression or stress, whatever it is, it just engulfs you. I did a lot of bad things. Things I'm not proud of, obviously, things I'll write in the book. Not because, obviously no one wants to trash themselves or make themselves look worse as people, but I'm doing it because I know there's a lot of people out in this world that have suffered the same thing, if not are going through the same thing. And, we all got skeletons. These are these things that no one really talks about. But you try to move on and forget about it. I met my dad for the first time when I was 11 years old. Once my mom left Puerto Rico, she pretty much cut him away. She didn't want anything to do with him. And I don't know why, but obviously when I was 11, I met him. Supposed to have a connection with, a love, but you don't know them. It's weird. This guy cried when he saw me because I was his son, but I looked at him wondering why he's crying. And number two, what am I supposed to do? I guess I got to go along with it. 13-year-old kid or 14-year-old kid thinking he's a man, growing up with all that violence and all that stuff around him, being desensitized so early, you pretty much think you are a man at that age because there's just so much that you've gone through. Now multiply that by thousands, if not millions, you have a problem. Kids want to make money, emulate what they see on TV, they sell drugs. Drugs leads to violence, violence leads to death, and then you have a predominant culture of violence and homicides. I didn't want to live with my dad, we didn't get along at all. I didn't like his rules, and I didn't know the guy. I actually had the contempt for him, naturally, because he tried to tell me what to do as a kid, because I was now under his custody, but who the hell is this guy? You haven't been around. So I went to my grandmother's house. My grandmother lived in the projects of Puerto Rico. The projects of Puerto Rico makes the projects in Crown Heights in New York look like a Holiday Inn or a Motel 6. Not the fanciest of places, but livable. I seen a guy shot. I was taking the trash out one night, and I saw guys laying against the wall, sitting down, and I see a guy with a black hoodie. It's Puerto Rico, people don't wear hoodies. Black hoodie, talking. I saw him pull out a gun. I ran upstairs, went inside, and I peeked out through the back. By the time I was doing that, gunshots go off. I look outside. The guy, with two guys sitting down, one of them started kind of moving his way up. I leave. I didn't want to be around nor know that anybody saw what happened. As the incident was taking place, people woke up. He started yelling for help. My aunt got up, went to the back, my grandmother, then I followed, and I saw the guy grab onto a tree. People were yelling ambulance, help, so on and so forth. Grab her on a tree, do a couple turns, fall on the floor, ass up, hand like that, eyes open, took his last breath. See, doesn't leave your brain, it sears you. I had my stint in Puerto Rico and I was over it. My mom missed me, so I went back to the States, to Lowell, Massachusetts. I was desensitized from Puerto Rico to the point where when I came to the United States of America, everybody looked like a bunch of pussies, just cowards. Just, all this gang and thug and stuff, and everybody would talk and nobody would do anything. So I was the impulsive, fearless kid that would do it. And I got a rep for doing things. And hey, go Carlos, he's crazy, or tell Carlos to do it, or so on and so forth. But outside of that, I always went home and I reflected. I knew what I was doing was bad. I knew what I was doing wasn't the best idea, but at the time, my life at home sucked. My mom was dating way younger men. My mom was smoking weed. My mom and I smoked weed. My mom and I drank. I was 15 at this time. So this is the upbringing that I've had so far. A lot of great moments, a lot of bad moments. I was a very religious person, meaning in the sense that I believed in God. So I always had that faith, the hope that there was something out there, either looking over me or protecting me, or if I asked for help, things would naturally work. My criminal history started to take wind now. I was going out for joyrides, smoking blunts. I was hanging out with gang members. I was selling, dime bags and 20 bags at the basketball court or at the park. I would hang out where the gang members would hang out. If there was a beef between one gang and another, I'd be a part of that beef. If there was a shootout, I'd be a part of that shootout. If there was you're walking downtown, you see another gang member, somebody gives you the wrong look, you're beefing right there and then. If there's a gun involved, there's a gun. If there's a knife, there's a knife. That's just the mentality. And it was 1998, 99, and I was living, this was when hip hop really blew up commercially. This was when DMX came out, when Nas came out with Nas I Am, when Mobb Deep came out with a big hit, Jay-Z, Def Jam Records, all these things were happening in the hip hop community, and I was buying the XXL magazines, I was reading The Source, I was emulating these guys. I didn't have a male role model, so Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, their words, their lyrics were my role model. How to sell drugs, how to compose yourself on the streets, who to trust, who not to trust. Just the whole lifestyle, the things that these guys went through, Jay-Z getting a record deal by flipping half a kilo, I wanted to emulate that. I wanted to sell drugs, flip a kilo, I wanted to have a navigator, and I was only 14 years old, 15. I was a young kid, but I wanted to be that because I thought I was it because I had gone through so much. So my record goes from disorderly conduct to resisting arrest. Every time a cop would arrest me, I would resist. I liked cops. Cops were pigs. I hated them at the time. They were the anti-me, what I wanted to do in life. And my aunt tells me that I have to go with my mother to a homeless shelter one afternoon after school when I was downtown. At this point, I was 16 years old. This was the summer of that year, so school was ending. 16 years old, going to a homeless shelter in Gloucester, Massachusetts. If any of you know Gloucester, Mass is where the Perfect Storm was. Gloucester, Mass is the big lobster fishing. You had the Wicked Tunas from Gloucester, all those shows. So I was thrown into a homeless shelter with my own room. I was thugged out, jewelry, and I was thrown into a high school which was smaller than the 2,500 student high school I had in Lowell, but nonetheless a very preppy. Gloucester split in between, upper middle class and lower middle class. There was no just general middle class. Those were the two differences, and then you had the wealthy. So, again, girls liked me, kids hated me. I dealt with racism. I was enrolled into the ROTC program, the Marines. That taught me a lot of discipline, taught me character.
Thank you for watching my very first lecture, everyone. If you didn't notice, I was extremely nervous, but I was also grateful for the opportunity. My life story continued from there. It's now becoming a book this year, 2016. I look forward to giving many more speeches, giving many more lectures, and doing my best to give motivation, hope, and inspiration to millions of people. If you'd like to book me for any lectures or speeches, please go to my homepage, scroll down to the bottom, put all of your contact information there, any personal message you'd like to send. As soon as I get it, I'll reply to you. If you're just viewing my page and saw this video and like to ask me any questions, touch on a topic, or get any information about my book, do the same, scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, put your contact information there, and I'll reply to you as soon as I get it. Thank you again for your time, and I look forward to hearing from everyone soon.